This is the Three Skeevers podcast.
All right, episode 36 of the Three Skeevers podcast with Grim from Grimsforge Gaming and myself, Icy with Icyfire Gaming. How you doing, Grim?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. And our special guest today is FragManSaul. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Of course. So, this week I've been doing more companion stuff, and I finally got my companion to 20, and she sends you a nice little letter, which I'm not gonna read because I didn't save it or anything. But I thought it was pretty nice that she has that sort of that interaction with you, where once you have that journey with her, however long it takes, whether you grind it all in one shot or you take some time, like a couple weeks to get it done, and then she kind of recounts some of the tales in a very vague way. But it was a nice little touch I think they did for the game to put in something like that you wouldn't really normally expect.
Yeah, I still need to do my quest.
Have you done anything, Frag, with the companions yet?
I done a few. Yeah, I jumped in when it got released. I did some. I jumped into companion, see what's going on with that. But to be honest, when I got the companions and did it on the first character, and then decided to move across, I kind of, as a PvP player, the need for a companion was a little bit less, I guess. But I obviously wanted to find out what it's about. But it's nice that they've got it. I think for solo players, it's great. You can change the level of voice lines that they offer during combat. I don't know if you noticed that. You can. It's an option in the settings that you can reduce it and increase it. But
Yeah,
it does like to talk, right?
Yeah, so I think normally it's set to, the default normal, but I've heard a lot of people complaining that I guess they're talking too much, but I feel like they don't talk like enough or anything like that. I didn't increase the frequency, but I just thought it was kind of weird that people were complaining like, oh, they're talking too much. How do I, lower the frequency? But it's set to normal, so I'll have to just increase it to see if it gets even more annoying or something like that. But to me, it doesn't bother me too much because it's not like they're saying much anyway.
How do you find having a companion in PvE? Just like generally, just having that extra person around and an extra thing to level.
I kind of do it, so I don't usually grind anything, usually, unless it's like for maybe a gear piece or a weapon piece or something like that. But at the most, I'll just do it for an hour. So for me, with the companions, I was just going about my normal business, doing regular questing or doing something in the game. So, it took me probably 2.5 weeks to get my companion maxed out. So it was just it was truly just playing the game like normal. I'll get there when I get there. I'm not really in a rush or anything like that. But for me, it's been a lot of fun because if I'm on the phone, say talking to somebody, whatever, then I'll just have my companion fight for me while I'm just AFK doing something. And it's nice to see them solo content and stuff because there's some players that I know that my companion is better at doing PvE content than.
Yeah.
Which,
that's bad.
yeah,
I hope
yeah.
I'm not on your friends list then.
Yeah, no, I won't name names, but you know who you are.
Oh, rip those guys. I kind of feel the game is very first end game players and CP 900, 800, 700 plus, I guess. Like the solo game is probably fairly easy if you've got a decent loadout. So having a companion is it's kind of like a nice add-on. Like you say, if you're going off AFK, you've got some guy just continue the fight while you're making a cheese sandwich or whatever, and then you can come back and the fight's still going and you're all alive and everything's okay.
It's funny that you say that because for like the easier type of content, they can honestly do that. I'm not saying they can kill a world boss or anything, but regular trash mobs, if you just want to AFK in an area, they'll protect you, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's a nice addition. I this game has so many things to level up, and I think it's all about catering for different players. Not everything's going to fit everybody, right? Some people don't like PvP, some people like doing world bosses and story modes, some people just like to do trials, and I think it's just another area that this game thrives in. It's like creating another bit of content that will fit a group of people, and the PvE solo players, it's kind of perfect for them, I guess, which is nice.
Yeah, because I know for me, since I like to do PvP and PvE, if PvP is lacking or having whatever performance issues, whatever it may be, I always have the PvE content to fall back in. So, the love for the game will always be there, and I wouldn't really have a reason to boycott the game or anything when I can still enjoy it in the multitude of ways that the game offers.
It's nice to have a bit of variation as well, right? And there's only so much PvP you can do after a point. You're like, maybe just do a little bit of chill, bit of PvE, get a different gear set for another loadout.
Exactly. Yep. Definitely a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. So is that what are you doing? Anything else with the companions? Are you or with the new content? Is it? Or have you done trials, or you just like? I mean, I guess Mid-Year Mayhem, right? It's everyone's kind of like throwing themselves into that at the moment.
Yeah, no, I've just mostly just been doing solo content for the companion stuff. Yeah. But
We haven't even done a whole lot of Mid-Year Mayhem together this year. I think because of that, right? You've been really kind of throwing yourself at the PvE stuff that's going on.
yeah, just kind of chilling and hanging out, really. Yeah. But we did do Nightblade Night the other night, which was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. Saul missed it. FragManSaul missed it. But uh, do you have a DC Nightblade? That's what we were on.
I was cheering on my Nightblade over on the EU servers. I've only had one character on NA, and since I've been obviously chatting to you guys and socializing the last couple of weeks, my only character I have is a Necromancer, which is my first ever character on Elder Scrolls. And you can imagine what your first character is like on a different server that you. I mean, bear in mind that I've been heavily involved in Elder Scrolls for the last 2 years. But go back 3 years and have a year break. If you can imagine that character that you've left at, I think it was like CP 195 or something like that. No 5 set pieces, no mythic items, no monster sets. The bank was a mess. I had 800k alliance points because I just did PvP, but God knows how I managed to get through PvP playing like that. It was a game back to a massive noob account. It's actually quite an interesting revelation about how people play when they're learning the game, to kind of obviously when you start to really learn it and understand how everything works, how the sets works, and how you've got to grind certain skill lines and stuff to make the optimal PvP build. It was quite a step back, and obviously grinding one particular character up to CP, well, just say sub 200, to not even try Nightblade or Templar or all the other classes. Yeah, it's kind of a bit weird, but that's all I have to go on the NA service is a level or 195 Nightblade and sorry, not Nightblade, Necromancer. So I literally jumped on that character. I thought, do I start a new character up, get a Nightblade going up, which I wanted to do, but I just having a main EU account, with a guild that I run and stuff like that. I just thought, oh, time is a bit short, so I just thought I'd just try and pull my Necromancer up to a decent level, which he's almost there actually. But I missed out on that Nightblade, and I got that Nightblade Night. I'm thinking, oh, I really like to get involved in the Nightblade, because Nightblade is such a great class to play in PvP, especially Cyrodiil and Imperial City. It's just like a real dirty kind of like cheeky group build to play in. You just gank on people.
Yeah,
It's
we were
fun.
running with Dr. Gankenstein and um, Captain, and I was telling those guys, I was like, I kind of like running on a Nightblade right now because we can pick and choose the fights. There's huge Zergs around. It's a lot less stressful to play on a Nightblade. You just see your target, take your shot. If you get it, great, and if not, just disengage, reset the fight, or find a new target altogether. And also, Nightblades are hitting so hard from stealth right now. Like, damage is just at an all-time high in the game, so it's not really hard to finish people from stealth right now. Even the high health people, you can just chop through them. And but it was a little bit more relaxing play style that I'm used to during Mid-Year Mayhem. That's for sure. Um, So you and I've been running around PvPing a couple times. I came over. I have an account on the EU server. I know exactly what you're talking about when you're talking about. A lot of people don't remember what it was like to have that low level character. That your gear's in shambles. You don't have crafting. You're running with whatever you can find. And I'm living that over on the EU server for the most part right now as I level up over there. But it's fun running around with you. I noticed that you really like the vampires. We have kind of an itinerary in front of us, but that's one of the things since we're there. You really kind of specialize in vampires. Are there any tips or tricks you can tell anybody or tell everybody for PvPing with a vampire right now? Things you found out?
PvPing with the vampire. It's if you want a bit of a challenge, then go for it. If you want something easy, I'd say don't. I think a vampire is one of those builds that there's a lot of positives, but there's also a lot of negatives. And I think especially with the meta at the moment with Dragon Knight, you do a huge amount of fire damage. Like, if you're running vampire, and depend obviously what stage you're at, those DKs will come along and just kind of burn you down very quickly. But what I enjoy about the vampires is they kind of add an extra like versatile string to your bow where you can create something a little bit off meta. We call it a muta build, which is the most unorthodox tactics available as opposed to the most effective. And it catches people off guard sometimes, when they're like, oh, this guy's a vampire, it's quite easy, and all of a sudden you kind of turn it around, you pop in an ult, got into Swarming Scion, and then you pop out of it, and then about 30 seconds later you're back into your ultimate again, with the full health. So with vampire, you've got to learn the very the skills, I suppose, and how you can implement those into whichever class that you're going to play. And inherently vampire's been a magicka build because of the skills of magicka, but this new the new DLC and the way they've changed proc sets, I've found that stamina vampires are becoming very strong and a lot of fun to play as well, not just in PvE but also in PvP as well.
Yeah, I know normally when I run into a vampire and they go to vampire form, I treat it the same way as a necro going into raging clown form. Just get away. Just get away from them. Yeah, let them have their 20 seconds of Hell's Fury and then kill them. But something I don't like about the vampire ult is it immobilizes you when you're transforming into and out of. Have you noticed that? Like it just roots you, or it's horrible. Like, especially when you think about the way that ult's being used, it's either being used to go offensive, and you can't afford to hit this and get rooted in place and wait for the transformation to get done. And then if they're running from you, and you're not running a gap closer, they've now, unless you're running superior speed, you're not going to catch the person that you were going into vampire form to kill, and then in that moment where if you're fighting outnumbered in vampire form and you're fighting 3 or 4 different people, and then you immobilize yourself or root yourself when you're despawning, I guess, or whatever, and now they just swarm around you, and just beat on you. And so I wish that they would change that, but it's fun. I'm making a true vampire lord right now, and we'll see if I can make that work.
How true are you going? Are you going full vampire skills, like five skills, all the vampire skills, or are you gonna just go full stage 4 vampire with it?
I'm gonna go stage 4 vampire. Right now it's gonna be a mag DK, and it's a stage 4 vampire, and the primary spammable is gonna be the, what is it, lacerate or whatever.
Eviscerate, yeah.
Eviscerate, there you go. And I will use instead of using the mag DK, like fossilize, which is the best CC in the game, or talons, I'll use the fear or whatever, we're going to make our at least offensive bar all vampire abilities, and then I'll try and figure out a way to have ult gen in it so that way I can get to the vampire form and in and out of it effectively. So that's the thought right now. We'll see how that pans out.
Old gen on vampires has always been very strong. You got the exhilarating drain, which is 3 ult per second when you're using that. And then you've got obviously the recent mythic item, which is the shapeshifters chain, which is that's the one, which has only just come out on PC because they fixed the patch finally. But that reduces the ultimate cost by 15%, which you tie that in with stage 4 vampire and maybe vampire lords and a potentate set, and all of a sudden you're having I think the lowest we've got is like sub 130 ultimate for basically pulling what is a 300 cost ultimate. To get 130 ultimate charges doesn't take very long at all.
Yeah,
that's a full health as well. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, see, I was thinking too, if I'm not gonna go into the vampire overlord, it would be fun to run or sprint around and just be stealthed, the vampire stealth, and have enough ultimate for a take flight from stealth. And, you should get that strike from the shadows passive for extra weapon or spell damage as a vampire. So that will be kind of cool. And then I thought, well, what if I hit Prox Det and start sprinting towards a target and then take flight to them and explode just as I land on them? Maybe hit a Talons and Deep Breath or Inhale and just try and cause a bunch of chaos and groups. And I thought that might be kind of fun. So that's what we're aiming on. We're going to be this stealth bomber.
Sounds like you're going for a one hit wonder there with that, which is nice. I like the idea of that.
Yeah, it should be fun. We'll find out.
Frag, so when you make your vampire builds, what stage do you typically hang out at the most?
PvE, it's always PvE. It's always stage 4. If it's not stage 4, it's always time, in my opinion. You got to go full on. Since they've changed proc sets and the way that the vampire is and like in Blackwood, I've also taken stage 4 to PvP as well. But generally before that, I would have hit maybe stage 2 or 1. I know they say people tend to like Undeath as a vampire stage, but before it was fairly recent, they changed the health recovery penalty in PvP. They didn't used to have a health recovery penalty in PvP, which made health recovery the biggest heal in PvP. Outside of heals, because obviously with Battle Spirit, everything get hit by half. So if you stacked health recovery, you could, effectively keep yourself alive through that. But now they've nerfed that. It means that stage 4 vampire becomes a little bit more viable, because obviously stage 4 you have no health recovery, but you can use the vigor skill out of the assault skill tree. Which is a massive amount of healing, and depending on what class you have obviously the class heals. And again, exhilarating drain is one of those skills that it can be interruptible. I get that in PvP, but if you're playing a bit of range, not only do you get ultimate charge or vampiric drain. I don't know I've never seen anybody use drain vigor, the stamina morph of that. It just seems a very small amount of stamina you get for the duration. I think the ultimate drain is the exhilarating drain is so much stronger. But it's like the Dragon Knight ability, where you get is it 30% health per second as a channeling ability. You get 23% missing health every second, which is a huge heal. So if you're starting stage 4, you've got yourself a massive heal and ultimate game on your toolkit, which you kind of need as a stage 4 vampire. But yeah, stage 4 for me all the way. I'd like to throw myself, if we're going to do vampires, let's do it properly. And I think I did one of my first vampire builds. I did like stage 2 as a tank one, and I used Zans as a DPS element of it. So it was short, well, one-handed and shield build, using the and which I love this ability. It's the shield wall, the spell wall. It's a really cheap ultimate. It's only 135 ultimate, and it reflects projectiles, but auto blocks. It's like basically it's an auto block for 6 seconds, which I think is massive. And I was using that and exhilaration drain, basically get my health up, and then as soon as Zarn's proc, I put pressure on. And it's a real cheesy build, and that's obviously when we had this gap of what I quite like as a meta when they took out proc sets in PvP, because it meant that you've got to kind of think about your builds a little bit more and use your skill lines. And then they brought proc sets back in, which again, I like proc sets because it gives you more flexibility, especially for a hybrid builds. I kind of feel as a vampire only builder or sort of like content creator, having proc sets to your like your repertoire makes it a lot more fun to kind of create some really kind of enjoyable sort of like builds with vampire. And the current one I'm working on is the Necro Bash build, which you probably wouldn't need to go for stage 4 vampire, but of course I've done it because, like you, Grim, you come out of stealth. And again, it's the same thing with the ultimate. You come out of stealth, you stun yourself by obviously pulling your ultimate form, because Necro, the pummeling Goliath, has the same thing as Swarming Sign. When you go into that ultimate, you have that, basically you stun yourself for a couple of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But the bash, I've got it up to 30k a bash. And bear in mind, bash isn't on a global cooldown. Yeah, 30k damage a bash. And that's in PvE, mind. So, okay, cut that in half. But that's 15k a bash. Mechanical acuity and the veiled set, which is the extra bash damage plus bash damage enchantments to your jewelry, and you're hitting 30,000 damage a hit. It's just nuts. It's literally, and it's an AoE as well. And that's the crazy thing about it. Like, and I'm really gutted because I've got the build, and I tried to make this build on my Necro build so I could join you guys in PvP. But because I'm only CP 200, I've not got any mythic items, I've not got any sets, and it's just my whole thing's a mess. I've been farming sky shards for the last 3 days on my NA account just to try and get the space so I can make this build, because you've got to build into so many different skill trees to make this thing work properly. But I thought it'd be a great thing just to join your Nightblades. Like, everybody goes in. Obviously, you got the you pull the Nightblade ultimate, the Soul Siphon, and then all of a sudden a Necro pops from stealth and just kind of like just bashes everyone with a shield, and they're dead. That was my dream, but I know we've only got 3 days left of Year Mayhem, haven't we? So it kind of feels bad that I haven't been able to do it.
Well, you can get it on for Battlegrounds or get it ready for the next, Mid-Year Mayhem. I mean, recently we've had 2 a year, right, Icy?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
every 6 months. So
Yeah.
the way I always see it is when Mid-Year Mayhem is not active, the next 5-6 months is just preparation, get your builds and stuff ready for that event when it comes up the next time.
Yeah.
I got another question for Frag. So for
Mhm.
the vampire ability costs and stuff, do you think that those ability costs are? Do you think they're a little bit too much, or because I can't say I don't play vampires. I have 2 Nightblades that are vampires, but I play mostly like an assassin, so I don't really feel the costs hindering my gameplay. But do you think when you're playing those other different styles, do you feel it? Do you have like sustain issues when you're a stage 4 vampire?
Especially with skills that aren't vampire based. So obviously if you go full on stage 4 vampire with, throw in vampire lord set, then obviously your vampire abilities are really cheap. The great thing in PvE is to go for the blood for blood, on the instead of the eviscerate, so it doesn't use your magicka when you're attacking. It uses your health pool. So it means that your spammable doesn't go into your magicka pool, which is great for PvE, but for PvP, obviously the last thing you want to be doing is killing yourself when you're trying to kill somebody else. Because
Yeah,
as everybody
right.
knows in PvP, it's a health thing. If you have below 50% health, you become a target. No matter who's around you, people just flock to you. So in PvE content, you want to run a low health build, high health pool, but you want to run at low health because all the abilities, do more damage. You got the blood frenzy that does more damage but hurts you, so you can run that low health, but then you pop yourself back up again using you just switch it off. But you can't use those abilities in PvP because literally someone will just come along and just execute you. So for sustain, I tend to use the Serpent Mundus for my stamina builds, just because I find that yes, they become very expensive, but there are certain classes like certain classes that have these the stamina recovery and magicka recovery naturally embedded into them that don't have to basically activate an ability that costs an absolute ton load of magicka anyway or stamina. Are quite good to kind of run alongside that.
What's a good average number would you say is sufficient? Like 2,000 stamina recovery?
Yeah, I definitely hit 2,000. Yeah, and over that, you got a lot of freedom to play with. But yeah, I think 2,000 is probably the minimum really you want to run to feel comfortable, because the last thing you want to do in PvP is run out of resources, because when you run out, it's kind of game over. You can't do anything.
Right. Because I was talking to one of our buddies, Imp, that's in our Discord, and he also runs with the Jolly Rogers Guild that they're mostly run on AD. And we had a small discussion where he's saying, or he was kind of making the suggestion that is it undeath? Is that the 30% damage mitigation
Yeah.
for the vampire for stage 3?
Yeah.
So he was saying or implying that maybe this is going to become the meta where people are just running stage 3 vampire just to get that 30% damage mitigation. And I mostly play supports in PvP, and after talking to him about it, I was like, maybe I'll convert all my healers to vampire stage 3 just so I can be more tanky and get that 30%. But I haven't done it yet, but just the having that I guess it'd be like 9% increase on all my ability cost. That kind of makes me not want to do it, but I don't know how bad it's going to be without actually trying it, in exchange for all that damage mitigation that I'll get.
Yeah. Well, I guess there'd be more heavy attacks thrown into your rotation, right?
Yeah,
If you run
more heavy
support.
attacks, yeah.
Yeah. It's a funny thing, this, because obviously the more people use vampire to get the undeath perk, the more you'll have people running fire builds, because obviously the more vampire stage you have, the more susceptible you are to fire damage. So therefore you can do if you run a DK with, say, all the fire damage, and then you throw in the fighters guild as well, you're gonna basically just murder vampires left, right, and center, because they have that perk, right? The undeath perk, or the which one is it? Banish the
Banish the Wicked.
Yeah, one of those is extra damage against undead, right? A skill tracker, is it? 20% damage to undead, Daedra, and werewolves. So you throw that on top of the fact that they are, they're using their fighter skill stuff, and then DK with extra fire damage, and literally you just get melted. It used to be a pile of ash, and that's the thing. Dragon Knights, Magicka Dragon Knights are my biggest bane at the moment in Battlegrounds, and I just can't do it. It's some classes you just gotta walk away from, right?
Yeah. So I guess to the comment right there where you said, well, if there's more vampires, then you're going to see way more fire builds and stuff. But I feel like people aren't that smart, or they don't care too much. I know I just offended everybody, but when the whole werewolf controversy were running rampant, I didn't see a whole bunch of people running poison builds to just take care of that. the only person I know running poison build was, our buddy Emma, right? He's running, I think, Swamp Raiders and Morag Tong or something, and then maybe occasionally Papa. We throw on corrosive to just melt them like butter, but otherwise everyone was just mostly complaining the whole time. I would have expected a lot of poison builds or stam DKs to come up and clean up on all those werewolves.
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
make sense. And I think this is the thing about this game, though. People find a build and a class that they enjoy.
Mhm.
They will stay with that. It's only the guys that flex their builds quite a lot and like to play around with it that will find a change. And this is going like full on mega meta, right? So you play a battlegrounds and then you find let's say some guy's running werewolf. So you switch into your poison gear when you die, and then you just go, right, I'm just gonna walk over this guy now. And then the guy switches or whoever else switches and goes, they've got a few more vampires in the build. So then you go to a fighters guild build and you switch your loadout mid game. Like you would do. I mean, I'm a very much a seasoned Overwatch player where you switch your characters as you play to counter the enemy, right? Where most people play Elder Scrolls PvP Battlegrounds, they pick one class, they stay with that class, and they just run it. And if they keep dying, they will keep dying because it's not a competitive, there's no ladder, and then they'll just quit the game, or not quit the game, but the game will finish, and then they'll just load up the next one, and they'll do it all over again, and then hope to God they won't hit a werewolf or a vampire, or a DK if you're a vampire, so to speak. So yeah, I guess people not necessarily aren't so smart, but to invest in a build to counter another player just for the off chance that they might be picking a werewolf or might be picking a vampire, maybe a little too much, I guess.
Yeah, too upper tier meta. Yeah. Higher MMR.
Yeah.
So
And just before you move on, just with the MMR system, I've never understood the MMR system in this game.
you're not the only one. Yeah, you're not the only one. Like, why is there not a page somewhere that just explains the MMR for Battlegrounds? Like, so we have this thing, we have Battlegrounds. Where's the page that tells you how the matchmaker rating system works for Battlegrounds?
Dude, I would even accept a page explaining why they're not gonna put out a page, or tell us what the MMR is. Like, yeah, we're not gonna do that because we don't want to encourage a competitive PvP environment.
Right.
Thanks.
But
Done.
that's what PvP is, though. It's a competitive environment. How can it not be competitive? I want a ladder. I want to see how good I am on that scale.
Yeah. I don't know. The MMR has been quite a thing for a long time. Earlier, when you were talking about people having fun and just playing their different builds and stuff, I like to do that. I play thematic builds and different play styles and different gear sets and put it to music. I make characters. It's fun for me. Inevitably, I always get one person that comments low MMR. And it's like they don't. What are they even doing there? Like, what are they even doing on my page or my channel? Like, go somewhere else, because I just don't get it. Like, look at me, I'm trying to be real, high MMR with my Tony Stark or my Captain America. Like, no, I'm just having fun and making builds and play styles that are fun for people. But I can tell you this, I've played since beta. I've been at high MMR before they did a MMR reset. I don't remember when exactly it was, but I remember in high MMR, there's just a really, really small window of counterplay. And if they ult dump you, well, damage is much higher now, so that counterplay window is almost non-existent. If two people ult dump you now, you're dead. And there's really not much you can do about it. And even with cap resistances, and that's just where the game's at because of the power creep and the new, just the new sets that are in the game. So, but before at high MMR, it was way different. Like there was counterplay still, and it was just ball groups, all four people running around, sticking right on each other. and these 4-man groups colliding and ult dumping, and that's what high MMR is. And so you know, if they're looking for that type of play style, I'm sure there's other content creators that are doing BGs with high MMR builds and play styles. So, but so you've played for a long time. You've streamed as well, and from our talk, I guess you had streamed on Twitch. Could you kind of give us a background, how long you've played and where you streamed at, and the history of your channel?
Yeah. Okay. So I started YouTube in 2015 at the end of it, and I mean, Fragman was created around doing first-person shooters. So I decided to pick a genre. So I went for the first-person shooter stuff, and I didn't really want to touch onto MMOs, even though I had been a massive MMA player. I just wanted to stick with first-person shooters. But when I moved to Twitch back in 2018, Twitch was much more diverse content. You can flip and change in your stream a bit, I guess. I decided to go down the RPG side of things. I did Path of Exile and Elder Scrolls Online. When it came out, I was one to watch, but it was because I was stuck in my first person shooters at that time. I didn't want to. I know what an MMA does to you. It sucks you in and it doesn't let go of you. I did this with World of Warcraft back in the noughties. I was very heavily into a World of Warcraft guild. I was doing 25-man raids every Tuesday, and then we do battlegrounds on a Friday. It was a very big guild that we had going on, and it got to so much point it affected my social life. So I had to say, look, this has got to stop for a bit. And I know with FPS games you can literally turn them off, but of course with FPS games you get caught in ladders and all that sort of stuff. And I decided that I wanted to have a little break from the competitive element. I wanted something a bit more chill. So I was stumbling around MMOs, and I guess I was a little bit lost in what games I wanted to play. But Path of Exile was fun. I was a big Diablo gamer. And then Elder Scrolls, I always liked the Elder Scrolls series. Morrowind was the first game that I played that I really fell in love with the series. And then I was just like, I'll give ESO a go. And then with the Elder Scrolls, it was always about the customization with gear and sets and loadouts. That got me hooked, just to be able to play whatever you want. I started streaming that in 2018. Did I guess maybe 6 months of it. But my streaming career was a bit of a mess on Twitch. Well, I won't go into it tonight, but a lot of my viewers and followers know about it. So I decided to let go of Twitch and move back over to YouTube. But instead of dropping into first person shooters again, I decided to actually turn it around and do RPGs and Elder Scrolls, just because the content's a little bit more chill. There's not the high skill level that you need to get through a first person shooter. The skill is actually in more building and understanding how the game mechanics works and being able to drive them, even though obviously you've got a light weave and know when to dodge and counter and stuff like that. But kind of felt that it would be a bit more of a relaxing game to play, should I say. But it has basically consumed me in the last year, actually, Elder Scrolls, especially with builds. And I love that. I enjoy that. I love working things out and working out as a weird and wonderful builds that actually shouldn't work, but they do. So that was 2018. I say I had a year off, and then this year, well, it's been a year now, I've come back into it. And I started doing videos on it, and then I decided to get back into streaming on YouTube. And only recently, I mean, it must have been the last maybe 3 months, I've decided to go, right, we can make a stream community on YouTube, because I know Twitch is Twitch and ESO are a big, let's say it's not a big game on Twitch, but it's a big community on Twitch, where YouTube is used more for guides, which is very much focused on streams, obviously, and people go to Twitch for streams and go for YouTube to guides. But there is, like when I started doing Elder Scrolls on YouTube, I started to stumble across other streamers on YouTube, and I kind of felt, Twitch gets all the love. Why can't the guys at YouTube get a little bit of love? And God knows that I know what it's like to move platforms, and I know a lot of people kind of wanted to dip into Twitch from YouTube, but there's some really established streamers on YouTube, and I just feel that we can get everyone together and start creating a YouTube Elder Scrolls community, streamer community. It's not obviously not as easy to navigate as it is than Twitch, but I just kind of, and this is obviously how I found you guys, right? You guys, I think it was Nolan Kirchhoff I originally started to watch, and then Dr. Gankenstein, I watched his content, but he did videos, and then he did a stream. Then Grim, I kind of jumped and I bounced into your stream, Grim, and then there's a few others, and then I realized there's obviously we got some PlayStation and console guys, and then we got a few of us PC guys. Obviously, PC's split between NA and EU, and then all of a sudden, like I discovered your server, your Discord server, Grim, and then just kind of the whole thing opened up because there's so many content creators on your Discord, and then everyone's sharing builds and sharing some fun plays and stuff like that. So it's just nice to kind of all of a sudden having created content by myself doing vampire builds, that's like messing about and doing off meta builds, to then joining in a community that actually plays, I guess, hardcore to a point. It was nice to kind of find my way into that. So I'm now at a point where I guess I consider myself as an Elder Scrolls content creator and streamer on YouTube, which is nice. It's a nice place to be.
Yeah, you definitely are. So I like the atmosphere when talking about the Discord that we have with all the content creators, because you could ask a question on there and Dan from Unified Gaming will chime in with an answer, or Is There No One Else will chime in with an answer or a meme, or Sawman UK will ask where you're at and come gank you. So but we have a really cool, fun atmosphere right now. I believe in the high tide raises all ships, and I think that all the content creators, Sawman was talking about this too, collaborating with other content creators should be a priority for all of us. Working with other content creators to help raise each other up and raise the game up, and provide useful information for the viewers. And so really that's what our Discord's about, and it seems to be working so well so far. So welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a really great Discord. I love it. Like you say, being able to ask questions and get a response from some guy that's creating. I watch all the content creators on the channel. I actually watched all the videos, and I watched them before I found the channel. So all of a sudden I can put like a name, not a name, but I guess a Discord username to a video to have that conversation, and then all of a sudden we're playing on NA and hanging out. I know I'm not joined too much on NA just yet. I'm slowly grinding my level up so I can actually do something as opposed to be a target. But you're right. I think joining together, and this is the great thing about an MMO, is that you don't have to be amazing at PvP, even though, don't get me wrong, most of the guys in the Discord, the content creators are very good at PvP. But you can just be mucking about. You can be all on your mounts, doing the slow mount walk off when you kill somebody. You get 5 of you versus one person. He's gonna die, right? But you mount up and you just stroll off into the distance. And that's for me, it's just like fun, engaging content. And so I remember Sawman saying like as a stream, Elder Scrolls is a very difficult stream to watch in some respects because it's all the same. Like if you're playing PvE content, literally the game is all the same. And if you're not in the game, you don't understand what's going on. You're not really going to entice new players new people to watch your stream and go, oh, check out this, I've just upgraded my gear to gold and got this, new gear set that gives me like plus 250 spell damage and I get to do a crit every time I do a shield bash and it's amazing. They're going to be like, what the hell are you on about? Just show me some stuff where you're killing somebody. You know, that's what people, if they're new to the game, want to watch. They want to see the action. They don't want to. And Elder Scrolls is one of those games where the game is actually learning how to put together a class and how to learn the game. That's almost the game itself. So I think as a stream, it's a difficult game. But if you've got a stream where load of content creators are doing some crazy stuff just for like a couple of hours and doing PvP or whatever and running around, Cyrodiil just as a group, bantering as you go, I think that for me is much more compelling than just I don't know, running a few dungeons and talking about gear sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Another thing too, a side benefit is because like you have Illinois Valley and Nolan Kirchhoff in there, and is there no one else plays on all the platforms, PC and Xbox, and each one of those, even on PC, NA and EU have different metas, and Xbox has a different meta and PlayStation has a different meta. So it's cool having content creators from all these different ones. A case in point was somebody had asked a question about a particular build or play style, and that person and I were kind of going back and forth. I was asking questions back. What play style do you enjoy, or what are you hoping to accomplish? And then we were talking about builds, and Illinois Valley said, hey, I got this, not to overstep my bounds, but I got this because they're here on Xbox, and I live Xbox every day. So here's what's going on in our meta, and here's what you can expect. And I thought that was awesome because there's, I couldn't have answered that question any better than somebody that lives it and breathes it every day. So.
Yeah, it's
Frag. Go ahead.
Yes,
go ahead. You go
I was going to say the difference between the platforms is nuts. I did a video about selling potions online, and this guy goes, "Oh my god, you're selling your potions for so much money." And I'm like, "Well, what platform are you on?" He's like, "I'm Xbox." I'm like, yeah, I'm PC. PC, like the economy in PC for selling things is so much more. You get so much more for your money, but then everything costs more because you all have add-ons, which makes the game so much easier to farm. And therefore, the item that would cost you 200 gold is costing you 400 gold because it's that much easier to farm. Therefore, you can put a higher price on it. So it's the difference between Xbox and PlayStation and PC doesn't just stop at playstyles, because obviously you're using a controller. You've got add-ons that make things easier to find people when you're playing PvP. You've got better graphics on PC, so you got less lag, or you got, you want to go for the high frame rate. I mean, we're going into FPS territory here, first-person shooters with high frame rates and better reaction speeds and that sort of stuff. But all these things change depending on what platform you have, and it's great because this is what I love about Elder Scrolls as well. It's like one of the only MMOs that actually does well on consoles as well as obviously on PC. I've always thought MMOs to be a PC game because you need to have a keyboard, you need to have a mouse with like multiple buttons on it, but it just proves you don't. I know Thorman, he uses a controller on PC when he plays, which just shows that you can be good at this game and actually use a controller and play against PC players and do really well at, which is it's a good thing for the game, because it means that hopefully, one day they'll put all the people together and you have PlayStation, Xbox, and PC all on one server, and NA and EU, everyone's together, and then I wouldn't have to create another account to play with all the other people I want to play with.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I will say I do also play with a controller on my PC just because I can't stand the mouse and keyboard playing the game. I'll do mouse and keyboard if I'm doing inventory, that type of thing, but when I'm actually doing combat, I'll use my controller. But do you know any games out there that actually allow cross-platform play? Yeah, because I know like there's so many games that people ask, oh, we should do cross-platform, blah 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 blah, but I guess between Sony, Microsoft, whatever, like nobody ever wants to be the bigger man and allow people to cross over or something like that. But Are there any games that actually do that?
Fortnite.
Oh, really?
Warzone. Oh yeah,
Huh.
yeah. You can play with your mates on Warzone and Fortnite. You like Fortnite. I believe the guys at is it Epic, the Fortnite guys? They created the code that allows you to do cross-platform, and they made it. They shared it. They said like, you guys, anyone can use this. Just do it. And it's like the way that consoles are going now with the hardware that they have and the frames that they can get and the capabilities that you can have. You can obviously plug in a keyboard and mouse into your Xbox and PlayStation. I mean, we were talking about it today. Overwatch is now a cross-platform game. You can play on people that are playing console and you can play on PC. And not competitive, mind, because obviously it's a first-person shooter and there's kind of like elements of like it being unfair. But you have this in Warzone where you literally log in and you can see if the person's playing on Xbox or not Xbox or like controller or keyboard or mouse. You're playing with them cross-platform, which is great. As a streamer, it's the most amazing thing because it allows you to not cut. I would say it's not a third of your audience because there's much more console players out there because the console is a lot easier to come across. But as a PC gamer, to be inclusive to more of your audience, to get them involved is a great thing. So I honestly like to feel at one point in the future, we'll all be playing on the same, it won't be Xbox exclusive or PlayStation exclusive, it'll be everyone together. And that's what gaming is really all about. But it's the divide is the controller and the keyboard and mouse at the moment to a point, and obviously PlayStation and Xbox.
So
Well,
for cross-platform play, it really just comes down to the actual developer to like make the code or whatever to allow
Yeah, I
that.
think so.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and I think there's an element of PlayStation and Xbox trying to like withhold it. I think if like with Fortnite, I think Fortnite got around it by just having their own game and saying this is our game, this is our platform, you have to log into our servers. But if the servers are based on Xbox or PlayStation, they won't make it cross-platform because they don't want to, they don't want to share the server load, so to speak, which I can get because
Oh, okay.
Xbox guys will be paying for a service, right? And they will have their service set up. And same with PlayStation, and they want people piggybacking. But I think Fortnite goes, these are our servers, you join our servers, and everyone can play. Which made it more. Let's not talk about servers and Elder Scrolls because that's not a discussion we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess going back to your background there. So when you come up with your builds and stuff, do you mostly do it on the PCS or on the PTS, or do you do ESO build, the ESO build editor? Where do you come up?
Well, okay, yeah, I do the editor when I'm looking after my boys and they're playing around with their toys upstairs. I tend to jump on my laptop on my, and actually it starts off on pen and paper actually because I generally know what all the sets are. I think like those guys that do builds will probably know the majority of the builds out on the that you're available. So I start some pen and paper, theory craft it, then I go on to the build the builder on the internet. I put it together, I see what the damage is. And a bit of a fool actually, it's taken me a very long time to download the PTS and actually put the builds together and fight a training dummy, a raid dummy. And the reason being is because I know that if you put the ultimate gear in to your loadout and fight something, it's not going to be the same as it's going to be live because we're not going to have the ultimate gear loadout. It's not going to be like that. And also you're hitting a training dummy. It's not PvP. PvP, you need to, and even if you're dueling, it's not battlegrounds. It's not Cyrodiil. Everything is situational, right? Unless you're just doing duels, obviously on live, which I'm not a duelist. I like to either have the odds against me or go for the cheeky gank and snipe or whatever, so I tend to, as I started off, I was basically just going, right, we'll just do everything live. But if you do everything live, you got to have a butt ton of money because you may be changing your glyphs a few times around and you'll be changing those gear sets and you'll be changing the traits and then you got to do crafting. And I was like, you know what, let's just download the PTS, it'll be a lot easier. And I downloaded the PTS and trying to get your head around how the PTS works, it takes a few hours to understand how to open boxes and get the right gear, and then you got to go and craft your own gear. It'd be really easy if you go right. You type in what you want, you click the buttons down like you would do in the website loader, and just go load this into my build, please. Now that would be a lot easier than having to kind of like go through boxes and like find the items that you want and then get a full inventory. You guys do PTS, right? You know what I'm on about?
I
Uh,
do.
It's a
yeah.
nightmare. It really is a bit of a pain. And then you've got to craft glyphs. And then if you want to switch glyphs in and out, you've got to then recraft the glyphs that you've then, overridden and stuff like that. So yeah, I use PTS now. And like PvE builds, I think it's a very good thing to do. PvP builds, it's harder. I've got a couple of guys that I test on the PTS with, but it generally is in a residence as opposed to in Cyrodiil, so we get Battle Spirit. And again, we're testing similar builds at the same time as opposed to counter builds. So I throw some items together to see what works, and then I just jump onto live and then hope for the best.
Yeah.
But I like to put the builds that I create, especially the PvP ones, I like to test them on live, even if I'm not maxed out, and just to feel that it works, because you get a feel for a build, right? If it, on paper it could be amazing, but then you take it into battlegrounds and literally it's just a waste of space, and you just run out of resources too quickly, or you get stunned too quickly, or you haven't got the armor to kind of resist. So I like to be, and this is the thing with doing builds on YouTube, is that it takes such a long time to do off meta builds because they got to feel right and work. If they don't work, I can't put a video up on a build that doesn't work. It just doesn't feel right. It's just a bit like I'm selling myself short, or like someone's come along and watched a 15-minute, and build videos are long, aren't they? They're 15-20 minutes to kind of go through all the items and gears and traits and passives, and it's a bit of a boring video unless you're into obviously the build. It's a bit of a boring video really to watch. So I try and put a bit of gameplay in the background, but I want someone to come to the video and actually watch it and go, oh, okay, I put it together, and then they can feel that actually does work.
How
Yeah.
often do you? Well, I guess not how often. How long is your like build testing process out? Like, can you just test it out in like one BG or two, and then you'll know right
Oh God,
away?
no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta test it. I mean, I like to sit on it. I like to play around with a few. I have maybe like the build will have maybe 2 or 3 sets, maybe 4 sets that I kind of want to rotate around. Like the latest one, the Swarmy Scion build. We did. The idea was to get into your ultimate form as quick as possible. So the shortest we got into ultimate form was 6 seconds.
Mm.
So from getting
What?
out of Swarmy Scion, yeah. From getting out of Swarmy Scion to then getting back into the next Swarmy Scion was 6 seconds.
Half of that time you're immobilized, changing into vampire.
Well, exactly. Okay, so the Akassa's Genius set, which is the one that will give you 40 ultimate, I think, every time you drink a potion.
Yeah, 44. Yep.
You go Nightblade. Every time you drink a potion, you get 20 ultimate. And then you have potion reduction enchants on your jewelry, which means that you can pop a potion every 30 seconds, which is in tune with the Akassa's Genius set. So every 30 seconds you're popping a potion. Bear in mind, Stormy Star lasts 20 seconds.
Wait,
so you have like
that's an enchant? You can lower the cooldown on your potion time?
Yeah, so you
What
can
the?
there's an enchant that reduces the potion. So instead of being every 45 seconds, you can pop it, you can drink it quicker.
What? I gotta look into
Yeah.
this because I didn't even know that was a thing. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then there's no downtime, right, on the
Your buffs.
buffs. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's but then you sacrifice damage. This is the thing. But the thing with Vampire, your ultimate gives you 10,000 magicka and 10,000 stamina. That's a big buff. That's a big damage buff, right? 10,000. So if you're at 30k magicka, and then you go up to 40k magicka, you're going to do a lot more damage. And then you can tie this in with PvE. I mean, the great thing about Vampires, you can tie this in with PvE by just basically sticking on Simmering Frenzy. As long as you got some self heals, your your spell damage or weapon damage can go through the roof. And we've got builds where we're hitting 14,000 weapon damage.
Yeah.
Which on a proc set meta is mental. This is why I love about this meta, is that if they've changed that proc sets aren't just either stamina or magicka based, they're together and it's the maximum. So you can basically knock out Simmering Frenzy, and as long as you can keep that uptime going for as long as possible by self-healing, you can ramp up your weapon damage. It's completely useless in PvP, mind, because obviously you basically get one shot because your health would be so low. But this is fun. It's a fun quirky build, right? This is what makes Vampire so interesting. There's that risk reward. There's how far can we push weapon damage. I remember somebody had commented on my build saying you've got a full meta set and you're pushing I think I was averaging about 75k DPS, and bear in mind I'm really bad at my rotations. I'm not a like a full meta trial 105 k DPS player. I put together a build and see how it goes. I was hitting very easily 75k DPS on a PvE build that I was doing. I was really pleased with that. I put it together and it was like, right, I put it out there. And this guy said, well, what's the point? You can just use that set without Vampire. You could probably, with a few extra changes around, you could probably hit maybe 80 or 90k. And I go, but that's the point. It's because I want to play a Vampire. I want to play something different that it literally isn't your cookie cutter build that somebody's put together for you. I want to create something a little bit different, and let's play around with it. There's so many there's like over 500. Is it over 500 sets, or is that there's a lot of sets, right, in this game, and then you just got to make the combination work. And there's so many different skill lines that you can throw into that mix. And the combinations are just insane. So let's just have some fun with it. Let's not all wear the same gear and all pull out 75k DPS on an easy rotation. Let's have a bit of fun. That's the whole point of the game for me.
Yeah, that's what it should be. Like that person that comments on our videos, low MMR, like they're missing out. Honestly, they're missing out on creativity and just pure enjoyment of playing something that is not meta and trying to make it work. So,
and when it works, though, that's the thing, right? When that off meta build that you have spent hours putting together all of a sudden actually feels, this is weird, but it actually does work. And I'm not going to tease my latest Necrobash build, but I'm literally a hybrid. I love hybrid builds in this game because you can do that, magicka sort of like mage running around with a two-handed sword, with stupid armor. You can do that and it works. And this build I've got on at the moment, I've decided to not go stamina on my back bar using a two-handed or a bow because I want to save all my stamina for my bash. So I've switched into a staff instead. I've gone destruction staff. So I have
that's
back
cool.
bar destruction staff, bar sword and shield, and literally I save all my stamina up for bash, and I'm hitting 20k bashes. I'm not even fully optimized yet on my build at all. And I'm just going through dungeons. All of a sudden, my ult pops. I'm just like, bash, bash, bash. Everyone dies. I'm like, well, okay, that's nice. And I go back to my back bar and just zap everyone with my staff. And the staff does a decent amount of damage. It's not going to be like mega damage. It's not going to be like the top damage. But again, it's a fun build to play. It's just interesting, different, and it picks on that quirky little like mechanic. That it's fun. It's different.
Yeah. So what's your schedule for streaming right now on YouTube? What's your schedule for your channel look like?
So I've just mixed things up a little bit. Elder Scrolls, we touched on this earlier. Elder Scrolls is a different game, a difficult game to stream on YouTube, just because it's not. I mean, I think streaming on YouTube, unless you're doing like the big main games, is quite difficult. But I stream Tuesdays. We do trials on Tuesdays, and then Friday was the PvP. But I've switched because the lag is horrible on Fridays. I moved PvP to Thursdays now. But Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I am streaming other games just to kind of like try and reach out and a little bit more of a general community in. So if you want to catch me on Elder Scrolls, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I'm trying to just, branch out a little bit just to kind of like, there's so many different games out there to play, but then videos, it's just all my videos will be Elder Scrolls. But as a streamer, I kind of like to do a little bit different. Actually got into Dark Souls actually on Tuesday, Wednesday. That's a really good game. I hadn't played that before. That's crazy. But it's a little bit like ESO actually, with the whole blocking and parrying and burning your resources out and then getting beaten up by, world boss, whatever it is. But yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays both actually will be PvP. I'm going to ditch trials for the time being. A lot of people want to watch PvP. I think PvP is a lot more of a compelling view than running dungeons and trials. So we're going to do PvP on Tuesdays and Thursday nights now, which anybody's welcome to join in. I stream on the PC EU server, but I'm going to be moving across onto PC NA. But the only problem I have with that is time zone difference. Is that when I'm playing and streaming, everybody's still at work in the US. So I think I'll be joining you guys off stream for a little bit of a recording session after I finished to get those videos up.
Yeah, that I hate to break it to you, but Thursdays are going to be laggy too. it doesn't matter what day you go; it's going to be laggy.
You just have to make a lag build, something that basically just kills everything without you actually having to do too much. Just spam AoE attacks and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think who was it that had that werewolf build with Crimson and super high health recovery?
Oh, what's his name?
Grim Hollow.
Grim Hollow. There you go.
Yeah. So he had that build, and then Is There No One Else had the no butts build. That it was a werewolf build that just killed everything, and you could just go AFK. And then they got rid of the health recovery, or they cut health recovery by 50%, so that way those types of things were a little less likely to happen. But so Papa just come up with a build yesterday. I don't even know if you know this, Icy, but it's what we were running around and he was testing. But it's got a 47k health, 6500 weapon damage. And
which
that's
gonna happen.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the build that I'm going to run on a couple things too. And just because the damage meta is so high right now, at least 47k is going to give you a counterplay window, and 6500 is enough weapon damage to get it done. So
You said 47k health is going to give you a counter window.
yeah. Well, when we were running around, the first thing we noticed in the outnumbered fights, everyone just avoided him and went straight to me because I had 30k health. They just avoided him, and they didn't realize he's got 6500 weapon damage, so he was dropping dawn breakers on him.
What's he running for that?
Top secret.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this like a build reveal eventually, or no? This is
Yeah,
keeping
I think
this close to the chest.
No, I think we just want to run around with it and kind of test it a little bit more. But right now, it looks and feels pretty good. So, I just want to make sure with Papa that I can share it, and as long as
Let's
he's
wait
okay.
until it comes out. I mean, that sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid actually. So, and if that's, if this is the meta where the damage is going to be, like power creep this is where we're at, then we got to start counter building to, be able to handle the meta. So that means we're going to have a really high health and figure out where you get the weapon damage, after that. So
I just realized I could run with you guys on my warden, give you that minor toughness, so now you guys are gonna have 50k health.
yeah.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. Oh, what would you have health wise if you put that on your well, I guess not the vampire, but the necro gets another 30k health, doesn't it? So
Yeah. So, well, I think the necro ultimate buff varies or scales with how much your max health currently is. So if your max health is already at 47k, and then we throw on like minor toughness from the warden, then yeah, you're certainly over 100k easy.
That's funny. And the scythe damage scales off max health. So that's kind of interesting. Anyways,
Isn't that the heal that you get back, or is that the actual damage as well?
I'll have to look at it and see if
I
it
think
says
it's both, because it'll
yeah,
heal off your max health and
Oh.
also do damage off your max health.
yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look
Okay.
at that and see because that might be pretty silly. But I don't know. We're going to
Well,
try that out on a bunch of different classes.
nice. Yeah, I think the meta on PvP at the moment, I've got this add-on called Squishy Finder, and basically it allows you
Yes.
to focus which, obviously when you're bombing, right, you want to pick the squishiest person so that they explode and kill everybody else, right? It's really useful for that. But I found in Battlegrounds, everybody is like boss level. Everyone's like 40k, 45k health. I'm just like, and I'm thinking I'm 32k health. I'm thinking that's the decent amount of health. I'm like the lowest health person in the battlegrounds. I'm like, how is this a thing? I'm like, how do I even begin trying to attack everybody? And I was playing Capture the Relic yesterday, and this guy is just sat. Is a necromancer sat on the point, fearing, and basically stood there with a shield up. I'm thinking, well, I can't even begin to attack this guy. Literally, I can get the flag,
Yeah.
or get the relic, and he'll just interrupt me. And it's just I don't know. I really don't know what to do with that. I should go warden and try to like pull him off with the frozen gate, and then try and nick the flag afterwards.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, dude, that is one of the most enjoyable things. I call it Nightblade fishing. In Cyrodiil, as my warden, I will put the frozen gates out, and when I see a Nightblade like scouring off whatever, I'll just put three of those gates around, and then it will pull him towards me, and then obviously I'm with a few guys, and then we just gank on him. And it's kind of like the reverse gank. It's a lot of fun to do. Doesn't always work because obviously the Nightblades are tricky class to fight against when they go stealth. But
Yeah, I've noticed some of
Mm.
the smart groups, if I'm like hunting a group of PvEers, if they have any brains, then yeah, they'll put down like bear trap or like a fear trap or or any sort of trap like the frozen device and stuff, and they'll just kind of litter it all over the place. And then when I'm trying to go in, I'll just get stunned or pulled, and then they'll be alerted. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah.
And they have now, the PvE groups that you run into during Mid-Year Mayhem have designated chainers. So there's like 2 or 3 guys running chains and pulling people into the group, and so the PvE groups are definitely getting smarter or evolving. So
They're becoming PvPers.
yeah, I'm proud of them. I'm high-fiving them in the air between, taking their Telvar or giving them Telvar. So
Speaking of Telvar, so yesterday was it yesterday too or the day we did Nightblade Night, I was on my AD Nightblade and you guys were on your DC Nightblades, and we were trying to coordinate or work together, not really bump into each other. So at this point, I think I just kind of split from the group, and I went to a different Discord with Emma so we could just go gank and stuff on her own. So I was working on this werewolf, this EP werewolf, and you and Grim, you actually rolled up on me when I was in a corner, and I saw you. I was like, okay, let me get out of here. So then, because the werewolf was working on the, I
the
think it was
boss upstairs on the second
yeah,
floor.
yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about now. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, freaking, the goon squad just showed up. I'll let you guys take care of it. So then I see you guys just run from one building to the next, okay, chasing this guy down, and so I'm just putting my mark the target on him just to keep the major breach up the whole time. And then for whatever reason, I think that guy ran towards me, but he didn't see me. And then you guys were all stealth or whatever, and we kind of bumped into each other. And then I think you guys were like, "Oh, AD!" So now you guys are on top of me. I'm just like, "Oh, Christ in heaven, man!" So now I'm running. It lasted about 6 seconds because somebody had Mage Light or Stealth Detect or something. And then last thing I remember seeing is Dr. Gankenstein with his whirling blades, And I was like, God damn it, man! There goes my freaking 14 Telvar I had. So just a PSA for Dr. Gankenstein, because I think he got the killing blow. If you can send me, there were I think 5 people in the group, and I lost 7 I lost 7 Telvar. So 5 times 7 is 35. If you can send 35 gold, oh, not 35. The Telvar rate is, I think, 8 to 1. So 8 times 5 is 40. Dr. G, if you can send me 40 gold as, uh, well, what's the phrase I'm looking here for?
Compensation, perhaps.
Compensation for my loss, that would be
Yeah.
greatly appreciated. No interest required, because I know he listens to the podcast, so I'll
I
appreciate that.
I know we're getting short on time. I do want to say something about Nightblades up in the districts. Icy and I we were with a guild, or we're still with them, but the guild's name is Grey Glory, and we played this game called Manhunt. And I jumped on my Mandalorian. It's the Stamina Nightblade, and we went up to the districts. And I have 10 or 5K Telvar on me, 10K Telvar.
10K.
Yeah, and they were the guild. Anyone that wanted to participate in the manhunt, they could either run, either or of the other two factions. And I told them what district I would be in, and so what we did was we went for like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and I'm not just trying to hide from them. I'm trying to systematically kill people too, like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees or whatever, So it's fun. It's a fun game of cat and mouse. I don't want to get caught outnumbered, but I'm not going to give this Telvar up for free. So the manhunt game was a lot of fun. It teaches them how to hunt Nightblades, how to deal with Nightblades, how to watch each other's backs and peel for each other, or whatever. And anyways, the crew we have now, I would like to revisit that and play that game. We would have Dr. Gankenstein and Captain Crunch and Sawman UK and Is There No One Else, and FragManSaul, like that group, Icy, Emma, like we would have a seriously scary group of people, but it would be really fun to say, okay, Dr. Gankenstein, load up on 10K Telvar, we're going to play Manhunt. And we would probably have some viewers that would want to participate in that, I would imagine. So
Yeah.
That'd be a great idea.
And I remember participating in that thing a year ago, and I was very new to the game at that point. So now, having all the knowledge that I know now, I know how to hunt for Nightblades. We can just
Right.
litter traps all over the place, and once you step on them, oh, there it is, game over.
Right. Yeah. But do you remember that helplessness feeling? You're like, you never know when he's going to strike or where he's at. And
Oh yeah, and even then, like, the mindset was you weren't really gonna fight us unless like an opportunity came up. You were just mostly just kind of hiding and whatever, avoiding us if you can. But if you saw something, you're gonna go for the killing blow and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, no, yeah, it
Yeah.
was definitely a lot of fun.
Occasionally I would hop out of stealth and just bash somebody and then go back to stealth, and they're like, he's here, and then I'm not really there. But so with your channel, how best can people reach you? And you talked a little bit about your schedule, but what's the best way that people can find you right now?
Well, obviously, I say YouTube's the main place that they can get me live, but we got the Discord. I got my own Discord, but they got your Discord as well, which I got notifications on, so that I am on there. So if anyone wants to discuss vampire builds or weird and quirky builds that probably won't work, but weirdly do, yeah, just your Discord, my Discord, come drop on live on stream. I have social media like Twitter and stuff like that. Just started a TikTok as well, weirdly, which I'm not sure if it's the right fit, but I'll do it anyway. I get crazy views on that. I mean, the 15-second video is like 600 views. It's just nuts. But yeah, I guess just we have a very relaxed guild or on the EU. A lot of it's we just do off meta build. I mean, I was doing trials the other night in a full medium loadout stamina build as a tank, and it worked. It was just we just do weird stuff like that, and we theorycraft a lot, like you've got in your section where you kind of have the different classes. We've got the same where people can just share what builds they're running and discuss it. So yeah, say Discord's great. YouTube live, FragManSaul on the YouTube channel. Tuesdays, Thursdays, come chill out and hang, or just get me in game. If you're PCEU and you're missing on a group or a guild and you want to get involved in PvE, trials, dungeons, overland, or PvP content, I'll be on there. And I guess the nice fit for us is that I can still join you guys after the stream, because I know you guys, for me, go on late, but I can do maybe a couple of hours of just recording. But during the live streams, because I stream at 8 p.m., 8:30 to 10:30, 11 o'clock p.m. GMT, I can have that section with my guys on the EU servers, and then come join you guys on the NA servers.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I need to jump in that guild over there. That reminds me, on the EU server with you guys. So
You're not a member yet, Grim?
I'm not. I hardly know anybody. I queue in for, I think I've done Battlegrounds with you and maybe 3 other people over there, but I'm just a solo guy out there doing solo things. So
What's your CP, Grim, over there?
600.
Oh, that's not too bad.
That's pretty respectable, really. 600.
620. Yeah. I really should be over there grinding the heck out of it right now while there's more EXP, at least through Battlegrounds and stuff, but it's been hard to get away from putting builds together and running groups, on the NA. Something I noticed too, as a side note, is I'll have good games over there, from time to time. Like I had a 50 kill BG over there, but the reality of it is with the latency, I'm at like 300 to 500 latency over there, and I'm just getting blindsided by things I don't even see from time to time. It feels like over on the NA server when I'm desynced and you just explode and die randomly, and so that's starting to become a realization for me on the EU servers, that I'll be able to play and have fun, but be ultra competitive, probably not. So
yeah, I noticed that when I'm joining you guys the other night, and I think it's something that you get used to. The reaction, and I guess I joined you guys, and then I had maybe a couple of games on Battlegrounds on the EU servers, and it just felt like I was not walking in mud when I'm pressing my buttons. That feeling where everything's so slow and the reaction is so slow. And I'm swear to God, it wasn't because I was wearing the Wild Hunt ring on, because I love that ring. I love the mobility on it in PvP, and I don't have that on the NA. But it felt like, actually, that's exactly what it felt like. It felt like wearing the Wild Hunt ring. It felt like when I was playing in NA that someone had taken that off, and it's just everything all of a sudden just like grinding to a halt.
Yeah.
But then Sawman UK, he plays NA and he gets away with it. So whether it's just something that you have to get in tune and get the rhythm going.
Yeah.
Once you get the rhythm going, you're okay with.
I was doing a Battleground just a couple days ago over there, and I started out 0-2, and a guy messaged me and he said, "I thought you'd be better."
Oh my God.
And I'll tell you what, I don't care what the latency is, but I put on my try-hard pants and went 18-2 in that BG, lag and all, or whatever you want to call it, latency and all, but I thought you'd be better. And I tried to message him back with a smiley face, but he had blocked me, so there that is.
No, that's it. GG's, mate.
Yeah, so oh well. How best can people help you out? Like, what are you looking for right now? What can they do?
Oh, dude, that's a really nice question. I don't know, actually. If you're on the NA server, if you can throw me a couple of 100 G's gold, that'd be nice.
Oh God.
Icy? They they call
Come out
Icy.
with my hands out.
They call Icy money bucks Icy. So
I no longer go by that name. I am broke as hell. Don't ask me
Yeah.
for money, please, and thank you.
And I actually, Sawman UK gave me a very sweet 200k to get me started, and I burnt through it pretty much in about a day with this Necrobash build, which
Dude, how
needs
awesome
more
is
skill
that?
points.
Because he himself is fairly new to NA server. So talking about sharing the wealth, right? Like,
Yeah, no, it's very
yeah,
very nice, very generous of him, and he,
yeah.
he's been crafting stuff for me, and I know what it's like, helping players out to kind of get loaded out. It's tough, and I do the same with my guys when people join the guild. I say get to level 20 and I give you a training set. I'll go and craft you a training set so they can progress a bit quicker, and then I make sure
Yeah.
that they run. But I mean, to be honest, I'm just pleased that I'm here hanging out with you guys. I'm pleased that I found some YouTube creators. I felt having had the switch from Twitch is that there is very much a group of Twitch creators that hang out, know each other, and this from obviously the Twitch streams that they do when they bring out new content and stuff like that. They all kind of are part of the Twitch stream team, and there is no such thing as a YouTube stream team.
Should be.
But there should be. There absolutely damn straight there should be. And the views that obviously Twitch get are great, but the views that YouTube streams get are valid, strong. They're really some of the streamers get to have like 60 concurrent viewers on a Elder Scrolls stream on YouTube is a remarkable feat, because like you don't get the exposure that they get on Twitch and Twitch, and also you don't get the developers basically backing you guys or us guys, should I say, on YouTube. So I think it's amazing that we've got some solid content creators on YouTube, and I just want to, if we can get everyone together and just like, because obviously one person going up to Bethesda UK and saying or whatever, or Zoz and saying, look, we're here, we exist, it's not really gonna work. But the fact that if we're all together and say, look, there's 10 of us, 15 of us that stream, we might not have like thousands of followers, but we got a good consistent concurrent viewer base. We want a stream team over on YouTube. Can you make that happen for us? I think as we progress and stuff like that, I think we can do this. I think we can say to them, like, we want to have a stream team. Can you make it happen for us?
100%. 100%, because you're going to have people on YouTube doing it anyways. Nolan Kirchhoff isn't going to go to Twitch. Nolan Kirchhoff's going to be on YouTube every night of the week out there 1vxing, on different classes, and it'll be in Cyrodiil or Imperial City. Dr. Gankenstein is on YouTube. Sawman UK's on YouTube. I could be on YouTube. So you're on YouTube. There is a group of people that if there were something like that, everyone would say, okay, let's do this. This is awesome.
Yeah, it just needs a little bit of a carrot in front of the devs' faces saying we exist. And I think I think obviously with your Discord, with everybody, and the fact that you've got a Discord where all the content creators together really helps that. And with the with what everyone's doing, the podcast, the videos together, I think it's something that we can definitely work towards. I'm excited for it, actually, because I kind of feel YouTube in streaming in terms of these sorts of games is definitely going to be something that will get bigger. I think people are, Twitch is obviously the main platform for streams of video games, stuff like that, but I feel like YouTube and some of the other, I wouldn't say Mixer because that's kind of died, but the Facebook gaming and others, there are valid platforms that stream these sorts of like Elder Scrolls is a bit of a niche game. It's not a Warzone. It's not Apex Legends. It's not League of Legends. It's even on Twitch, it's a niche game, really. But it's got a massive follow base, and we know this from the views that we get on our videos on YouTube. So it's just about making those viewers aware that we stream on YouTube as opposed to Twitch. And if ZeniMax can get behind that and identify us, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I know you only had an hour, and here we are at almost an hour and a half. It's hard to fit everything in an hour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's been nice. I really enjoyed chatting. And chatting about something you're passionate about is lovely. You know, it was really great. So thank you
Yeah,
for inviting me.
I can tell you're passionate about it. It's like 2 a.m. where you're at. So
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 10 to 2 in the morning. Yeah, and my kids will wake up in 5 hours time. So
yeah, you
that's
better
going to
get
be a
some
fun
sleep.
weekend.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
Is Frag, are you in the Imperial Sewer Concert Guild on NA, PCNA?
I am Grim. I'm in one guild. Is that your one, Grim? That you
yes.
invited me
Yep.
into? Yes, I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So he's in. All right. Yeah, maybe I'll send you a nice little icy startup kit to help you out.
Oh, bless you, mate. And then, well, to be honest, before you throw anything my way, I will burn it very, very quickly on gear that probably I won't use because I'm a builder, and you know what it's like when you get gear. So, but I will have fun doing it in the process and probably make something crazy. But what I am doing actually is trying it out on my EU account where I've got a bit of money to spend and I've got the gear to spend before I come over. So, yeah, this Necro build I'm going to bring straight into NA and hopefully be bashing everybody about a little bit.
Heck
With my
yeah.
30K hits. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
idea anyway.
That'll be fun.
Cool. So I think that pretty much covers that. And just as a reminder, we are also available on Anchor if you just want an audio version of this episode and all of the other episodes that we've done. There'll be a link in the description, as always, below. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
You're going to say bye-bye, Argonians.
Bye bye, Rogonian.